Hello, KDE Linux has started producing ISO files for the installation medium. Previously, that was offered as raw files. So the installation procedure has simplified significantly. Says that you want to install KDE Linux in a virtual machine, then you have installation instructions in here. But the installation instructions for installing in a virtual machine are the same as installing on a hardware computer, with the mention that most virtualization software available will use BIOS instead of UEFI. And then for the various virtualization softwares, there's different procedures such that when you create a virtual machine, you make sure that that virtual machine uses UEFI for the firmware. So we're using Virtual Manager Virt Manager. Let's open the virtualization software and let's follow the general instructions. So we'll need to download the ISO file. The list is sorted descending by date, so the newest ISO file should be on top. The ISO file has finished downloading. Let's compare a ISO file to a previous format, which was the raw file. So in the 27th of June, we have ISO files. In 16th of June, we have raw files around the same size. Similar names, just different extensions. Okay, we're not going to need a USB stick because we have a virtualization software. We'll need to disable secure boot and enable UEFI. Okay. And we should pay attention to the overview firmware UEFI. So let's follow the steps. File, new virtual machine inside the virtual machine manager, local ISO, browse, refresh, the raw file, choose volume. We type Arch Linux in here. Arch Linux in the sense we want a modern template for the virtual machine. One that uses VirtIO for the storage and network interface card. 10 gigabytes, 14 vCPUs, 200 gigabytes NVMe. Not Arch Linux, but KDE Linux. Customize before install because we need to switch to UEFI. And in here, in the Overview tab, Details tab, and then under Firmware, we need to select UEFI. Apply. The rest of the settings should be OK. VirtIO disk, VirtIO network interface card. And then just begin installation. Previously, you needed to add another virtual disk. This step remains the same. So in VirtualBox, at least on Ubuntu 2604, when you select UEFI, you actually select UEFI plus Secure Boot enabled. So you need to disable Secure Boot. Says press any key. We see the boot manager, which is a boot menu. In here, we can select EFI firmware setup. And then in here, the first option, device manager, secure boot configuration, attempt secure boot, which means that if we restart the computer, it will use secure boot. It will have secure boot enabled, but we want it disabled. I have pressed the space key and F10 to save, Y, and escape a number of times. I'm not sure which of these options will not eject the ISO file. Yeah. So we don't have the ISO file because the virt manager, when it detects that the virtual machine restarts the first time, or some virtual machine templates such as Arch Linux, will automatically remove the ISO file from the CD-ROM drive. I have selected again the ISO file, apply, and we're going to press enter. We actually want to reboot. How do we reboot this thing? Left control, left alt to exit grab, and then force reset. Yes. Check once more that we still have the ISO file. We do. And now we're at the bootloader menu. The first option is to run KDE Linux in live CD mode, where we will be having access to the installer, Calamares. Okay, so KDE Linux has finished booting from the ISO, so from the DVD drive in live CD mode. Let's resize to VM. And we can install as usual, either by clicking here inside the Welcome Center in the body of the window, or selecting Install System from here, or you can select the similar option from the Start menu somewhere. This one, Install System, Calamares System Installer. English US. No need to select the correct destination virtual disk. There's just one virtual disk. Erase disk. So EFI and hopefully GPT partition table. FAT32 4 gigabytes and the rest a BDRFS partition. Okay, so it does what it said. It has detected the virtual disk, formatted with partition table GPT, created an ESP partition, and then another partition named KDE Linux root. So this is going to be BTRFS, and the contents of the BTRFS file system, probably from the live CD session from the ISO, will just be copied to this new partition on the virtual disk. In here we can see how the EFI partition VFAT is being mounted. BTRFS mounts. It has written the bootloader, so an extremely fast installer. And now we could reboot the computer, which we actually want to shut down the computer such that we can remove the ISO file. We don't want to boot again from the ISO file, from the installation medium. Let's see if shutdown works. Okay, from the settings of the virtual machine, remove the ISO file, apply, and start the virtual machine. Somewhere around here, it's a good idea to actually create a snapshot. Either immediately after installing the operating system or after you do the set of minimal changes that you always do to all of your virtual machines, like creating the user. Okay, so we're before KDE Plasma session has started with the correct user because we don't yet have a Linux user account. So this is a first run wizard and OEM experience. Begin setup, English US. I'm not selecting anything in here. And the name of the user, password. The user will be an administrator, so the user will be a sudoer. KDE Linux without a minus. We need to wait a bit for the next button to be enabled, which is an issue. Okay, New York. And now we're at the desktop manager, probably Plasma Login Manager. We log in for the first time in the KDE Plasma session, which is Wayland only. Welcome Center. Okay, I usually test in here to make sure that software installation works in graphical user interface mode if you present it to the user. So let's see if I click on this button, what happens. The KDE Plasma Discover App Store should start. And it does. The list of apps that can be installed from the FlatHub App Store needs to be downloaded. So the metadata about the Flatpak packages from FlatHub needs to be downloaded. Okay, the App Store Discover opens in the tab Home by default. In here we have a list of most popular, which is a fine selection. And then the next one is a list of apps suggested by the KDE community. It's called Editor's Choice. So we have a audio music player, the text editor that I prefer, which is Kate, a game, the alternative to MS Paint, Microsoft Paint, the Color Paint app, Krita for more advanced painting, KDE Live Video Editor. I'm not sure if KMyMoney should be on this list because I have never used this application and I'm not sure who can actually use this application. It's a budgeting application and it's for accountants. It's very advanced application. Newly published and recently updated. The lists which are not curated of applications from the FlatHub store might present applications which are widely unknown. There's all sorts of publishers in the FlatHub App Store that are totally unknown. So not the Mozilla community, not the GNOME community, not the KDE community, but long tail applications from developers that have a small number of applications in GitHub and then published in the App Store in FlatHub. There's also semi-scam apps, apps created in a night using vibe coding and other very dubious applications that would never be part of the Debian archive of packaged software, for instance. This guy, Space Cadet Pinball, as far as I know, is just a game engine, doesn't have data. You cannot actually play this game. Let's not check. Okay, let's see the list of updates. These are I don't know what, maybe Flatpak. Yes. So that might mean that Flatpak apps are not installed inside the Calamares installer, but come pre-installed inside the ISO file, which means that if you don't have any internet connectivity, you install the ISO file, you still have a working system with some of the apps that you can immediately see in the start menu installed from FlatHub. Let's see such an application. So all of these apps that have nightly in the name, I'm going to guess that they are Flatpak applications, but not from FlatHub, but from the KDE nightly Flatpak repository. Let's check this theory. Edit application. So yes, it's Flatpak and then some command line arguments. And the Flatpak packages are of course installed per system because the user account is created just way after running Calamares installer, after you restart the computer and you get the OEM experience where you create the user account. Ocular, the same thing. Let's see if there's an application that comes from FlatHub, not from the Flatpak KDE nightly remote. Maybe this one, kwrite. Yes. As far as I know, there is no kwrite app in the KDE Flatpak nightly remote. So maybe that's why kwrite is installed from FlatHub, not from the KDE Flatpak nightly remote. Either way, kwrite, which is installed from FlatHub, or kcalc, for instance, which is installed from the KDE nightly, will still depend on the KDE Flatpak runtime from the FlatHub App Store. And part of that runtime is probably this thing, KDE Application Platform and Breeze GTK theme. Let's actually look from the command line at these Flatpaks apps and other packages which are installed or are upgradable. Okay, console should be added to the favorites. It takes a bit to start. How do we do that? Okay, so there's not just one KDE Flatpak nightly repository, but one repository per Flatpak. So Arc has one, Gwenview has one, Haruna has one, etc. kwrite comes from FlatHub. as expected. Firefox also comes from FlatHub. It's not a KDE app. And then there's just one org.kde.platform version, which is 6.10. So all of the known apps that are Flatpaks come from FlatHub. All of the Flatpak apps come from either its own nightly remote or from FlatHub. Okay, and what we see here, do we do that? There's Breeze GTK theme, which is probably this thing, org.gtk.gtk3 theme.breeze. More info, let's see if that's the case. I'm not sure where I can see the actual Flatpak ID, which I am looking for. Yeah, an unknown author doesn't sound well, so I would say it's an issue. For the very important must-have Flatpak packages that are not apps and come from FlatHub, you shouldn't have strings that sound so dangerous like unknown author. It's not like you can actually uninstall, or you should uninstall this Flatpak package. It's a vital part of the KDE Linux experience. Okay, and the other one is, again, doesn't say the ID. Probably the bug is that the KDE app platform is marked as published by the KDE community, whereas the Breeze GTK theme is not marked as created by the KDE community. And I guess it's created by the KDE community because it has version 6.7.0 and then 6.7.1. I don't know. Okay, let's install the updates. Let's see how that works. Update all. They are Flatpak packages, don't require computer reboot, and then work correctly even if /usr is read-only. Inside the Discover App Store, besides apps, which are Flatpaks from FlatHub, we have this remote FlatHub. There's also support for firmware for hardware, so LVFS. And we got such an update. Forbidden signatures UEFI. Update all. Updates will be installed after the system is restarted. So this is applied before starting many of the, before actually, I don't know, starting the Linux kernel, right? Let's actually do that. Restart and install. Shutdown was really fast. I didn't see the part where the LVFS update has been applied. Okay, I'm not sure why I keep seeing the Welcome Center. Welcome Center should be probably a first run wizard. If I just close it, it should not appear again. Maybe because I stopped at this page, so I didn't go to I didn't reach the final page. I'm not sure why. Or maybe because I didn't close the app, or maybe the Welcome Center is shown just once, the first run wizard, but then the session restore has seen that this window is visible, the computer has restarted, has remembered that this app should be started, and this window should be visible, and maybe even the X, Y, height, width values for this window. Okay. Discover has been restarted. Discover didn't remember the tab it was in. It was inside the updates tab. I'm not sure if that's probably a missing feature request or not. Let's see if I click on GIMP to install GIMP from the Welcome Center, if the Discover App Store is being foregrounded, and if it navigates towards the GIMP app. And it does. Okay, it wants to install it from FlatHub, and there's additional add-ons in FlatHub, including the user manual. Let's see how installing the user manual works. In my opinion, sorting by number of reviews is really important. There's plenty of apps that I have never heard of that have 2 reviews and both are 5 stars, whereas very reputable apps that I use a ton of times like I know OBS Studio have maybe 200 reviews, and some people didn't manage to install the app. For some people, OBS Studio from FlatHub didn't work correctly. So it's not all 5-star reviews. Let's install GIMP. I wish Discover App Store for the page of an app will have the details revealer, something that shows additional information about the application, where I can actually see the Flatpak ID of this application. And maybe even the remote that I have installed the application from. Maybe this information is available somewhere, but I cannot easily find it. So yeah, there's screenshots, but so there's licenses, age rating, yeah, so session bus access org.gnome.shell.screenshot is a very technical information, but the Flatpak ID for the GNU image manipulation program is as technical as this information, but it's way more useful for me. Configure permissions. Okay. So I have clicked on session bus access, and the correct thing happens. The system settings KDE Plasma settings app is shown with the Flatpak permissions tab, application permissions. Cool. Let's start the application. The application uses GTK theming, and probably GTK 3. How do we find out? I'm not sure if it should use the theme that the GNOME community prefers, or the theme that the GIMP community prefers, or the theme that the KDE community prefers. Okay. Let's now try to connect to this virtual machine, KDE Linux, using RDP, which has worked a number of weeks ago. Let's see if the support is still there. Let's do a bit of configurations. I'm going to increase the mouse pointer size, and then I'm going to search for RDP. Remote desktop. So the dance is probably check this checkbox, add new, add myself, save, enable RDP server, and I'm not sure if this thing should be enabled, but I'm going to enable it. So the checkbox auto start on login. Okay, this is an instant apply toggle, which actually starts the RDP server process for the current user. This is my wiki page and mariusp.github.io RDP page. Press the end key. So let's try to connect. So we need a command line similar to this one. Let's prepare it. X3RDP without a 3. Dot is the name of the current computer, which is correct. Administrator, the name of the user. Initial resolution. We don't want sound forwarding. I'm not sure if this even works. Dynamic resolution, I'm not sure. It did not work previously. We'll see about these. And then we need the IPv4 address of the computer. Let's see if copy paste works. And it does not. Let's copy it from here. Okay, so the previous time that I tried, the following command lines don't work: slash dynamic minus resolution, and the initial resolution slash w colon and slash h colon. Let's keep them in here. They should be benign. Okay. At this point, the session inside the virtualization software should continue. We get this prompt: KDE portal integration, remote control started. KRDP is exercising, sending the bits towards the user, towards me, and then receiving mouse and keyboard actions from me. Asks the password that you have added in here in system settings. Asks if you want to trust the self-signed certificate. Okay, so the 3RDP window, which is the remote desktop protocol client, tries to use the resolution that I provided, but the KDE Plasma session doesn't know yet to stretch to the resolution that the free RDP client requests. Okay. How do we resize this thing? So when you connect to a Windows machine, the current session on the hardware computer, so on the virtualization software, gets locked. Whereas in here you have two identical sessions happening at the same time. Whatever you do with your mouse inside the RDP connection can be seen on the hardware computer, in this case inside the virtualization software. Okay, so that's really good, the fact that the remote desktop protocol server works. Let's get a Kate in here, the text editor. So inside a random page, I was on the GIMP page. Inside the search bar, I wrote Kate and the search worked. Let's see if we're in the settings page and we write Kate, what happens. So now it says that it's going to search the settings tab. How do we go back? Home, GIMP. And now if we search, it goes to the correct place. Okay, so we want to install Kate from FlatHub, not from any other place. Install. We want to pin it. So to have it favorited inside the KDE Plasma Start menu. So it's in here. I'm not sure what this icon, system tray icon is. Let's see if copy paste of text works. From the RDP client towards the RDP server. Do we paste? I'm not sure what I did there. Yeah, something happened with the speed. Yeah, this is not a very fortunate setup that I have in here because I'm connected via another remote desktop connection to this desktop session, so maybe that interferes with copy paste. I have seen copy paste work previously, so hopefully it works if you're not connected via remote desktop protocol towards the RDP client computer. Okay, and then let's see if we can change the resolution. Now there's no intermediary. There's just the free RDP connection and the RDP client computer. Let's try again if copy paste of text works. So we have two Kate instances, one inside the RDP server, which is KDE Linux, and the other one inside the RDP client, which is Ubuntu 26.04. Let's copy text from the client, and it works. And copy text from the server, and it works. Next up, we want to change the resolution of the KDE Linux KDE Plasma desktop to a resolution where I can specify the exact number of pixels, width and height. Let's get a console in here and let's see if KScreen Doctor can see the screen. And it can, it's output 0. These are the mode lines, the modes. We want to add one which is extremely custom. So we want 60 Hertz and we want this resolution, almost square. And this should be the command line. Okay, so 960 by 990 pixels. And should be the last one in the order inside the modes list, so 27th. And now we should be able to change the resolution from the system settings. Search for resolution. This list is sorted, I'm not sure how. It's sorting in descending order by number of pixels, which is a correct way to sort this list. So 960 by 990, apply, keep, and we need to press the tab key and we can keep it. So even though we are connected via the remote desktop protocol, we still manage to change the resolution of KDE Plasma to whatever we wanted. And then the mouse cursor is off. There's an offset between where you can see the mouse and where the mouse actually hovers. So let's reconnect. Let's just not specify any initial resolution. Let's see that the mouse works correctly, and it does. Wherever I click, the click gets registered. Cool. How do we hide the toolbars? Like this. So the remote desktop protocol connection works correctly for my usage of it. The speed seems pretty fast. Copy paste of text, both directions should work. I can change the resolution to whatever I want, and this will allow me, for instance, to have on the half left of the screen a remote desktop protocol connection towards the KDE Linux virtual machine, and on the right half of the screen I could have, for instance, my web browser, such that I don't use the web browser inside the virtual machine as often. Yeah, there's a number of issues that I know how to work around. So one of the issues is that if you're using a remote desktop protocol connection inside the remote desktop protocol connection, so FreeRDP inside FreeRDP, things don't work great. I cannot click on the host. Copy paste of text sometimes doesn't work. Then once I change the resolution of KDE Plasma by using KScreen Doctor -O and KScreen Doctor output.1.add custom mode.resolution.60,000.full, and then I change the resolution in system settings, I need to reconnect the FreeRDP connection. Otherwise, there will be an offset for the mouse. The mouse is not calibrated. And of course, the fact that I cannot start the remote desktop connection before I connect inside KDE Plasma inside the virtual machine. So first I need to connect in the virtualization software, and only after that I can connect via the remote desktop protocol, because the remote desktop protocol server runs under the KDE Plasma session of a user that's logged in. Yeah. And then there's this issue where the KRDP remote control system tray icon is being shown too many times. It should be shown at most one time. So either 0 or 1, not 2 times. Okay, so this was a very quick usage and installation of KDE Linux using the new installation medium, which is the .iso file, compared to the .raw file that was provided previously. This is it. Thank you.